Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we're jumping into a super important topic in cloud security. How do you actually lock down those powerful Azure services that right out of the box can be open to the whole world? We're going to build a digital fortress piece by piece. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so first things first, we've got to understand the problem we're trying to solve. When you spin up these amazing services in Azure, the default setting is often all about convenience, right? Making it easy to access. But that convenience, well, that can be a huge security risk.
And this leads to a pretty big question you should be asking yourself. Is my data in the cloud as private as I think it is? It's easy to assume that just because it's in your account, it's all walled off. But that's not always how it works.
This slide just perfectly shows the default setup and exactly what's so risky. Over on the left, you've got your private virtual network, your VNet. But check out the right side. That Azure Storage account has a direct path to the public internet, which we've marked here with that big red X. What does that mean? It means literally anyone, anywhere could try and connect to it. We have got to close that door.
So how do we do it? How do we build that secure private connection? Well, this is where the hero of our story makes its entrance, the virtual network service endpoint. Let's break down what this actually is. A VNet service endpoint basically stretches your VNet's private bubble to include the Azure service you want to talk to. And here's the absolute key. The traffic never goes out over the public internet. It stays on Microsoft's own super fast, super secure private backbone network. And I love this illustration of the idea. Instead of that dangerous public path, we've now lit up a service endpoint. That's our secure blue arrow. It's like we built a private covered skybridge straight from our virtual machine to our storage account. The internet? It's completely out of the picture. Now, just building that skybridge isn't quite enough. You also need to post a security guard at the door. And in the world of Azure, that means setting up some rules that very clearly say what kind of traffic is allowed to come and go from our private network. So the logic here is really simple, but it's incredibly powerful. We're not just going to block a few bad things. No, we're going to block everything by default. And then we're going to poke very small, very specific holes for the traffic we actually want to allow. Okay. Let's see how this looks in the real world. On the left, we make an outbound rule. See that high priority, number 100? It specifically allows traffic to the storage service. Then, on the right, with a slightly lower priority, we bring down the hammer, a rule that denies all traffic to the internet. It's this 1-2 punch that makes our security so incredibly effective. All right, we've designed our system, we've built the walls, and we've set the rules. Now it's time for the moment of truth. Does this lock actually work? Let's put it to the test.
The test is going to be simple. We're going to try to access our file share from two different spots. First, from a virtual machine that's inside our secured private network, and then from a machine out on the public internet.
And there we have it. Our first result is in. From our virtual machine inside the private subnet, the one that's using our new service endpoint, we can connect and mount the file share. It works perfectly. The skybridge is officially open for authorized traffic. But this is the real payoff. When we try to access that very same file share from our own computer sitting out here on the public internet, we get this beautiful message: access denied. The storage firewall, working with our service endpoint, completely shut down the connection. The lock is secure. It works. So we've walked through the what and the how, but let's just spend a final moment to really dig into the why. Why is this technique so fundamental to designing a good, secure cloud architecture? So let's just quickly recap the big takeaways. VNet service endpoints lock down your stuff so it's only reachable from your private network. This means traffic stays off the public internet, which massively shrinks the attack surface for your services like databases and storage accounts. You know, this isn't just a cool trick. It's a cornerstone of building a truly secure environment in the cloud.
And that brings us right to our final thought. Today, we lock down an Azure Storage account. This same method works for other critical services too, like Azure SQL Database and Cosmos DB. But it leaves us with a really important question to think about. You've just learned how to lock one really important door. What other doors in your cloud environment might still be wide open?
Hi everyone. In this lesson, we'll go through So I'll go through this lab, Unit 5. We restrict network access to pass resources with virtual network service endpoint. So if I select that one, so what we're going to do in this task, so what it does, virtual network service endpoints, here you see that service endpoints, enables one to limit network access to some Azure service resources to a virtual network subnet. So resources here, for example, Azure Storage. You can also remove internal internet access to the resources. That means it can be going through like it's a private, it's not open. Service endpoints provide direct connection from your virtual network to supported Azure services. So it allows you to use virtual networks private address space to access the Azure services. Traffic designed to Azure resources through service endpoints always stays on the Microsoft Azure backbone network. So for this one, we are going to first create a virtual network. Then we'll enable a service endpoint. Then going to restrict and network access for a subnet. Then we'll put additional outbound rules, allow access to RDP connections, then restrict network access to a resource, create a file share in the storage account, and after that restrict network access to a subnet. Then we'll create a virtual machines and then confirm access to a storage account through service endpoints. I will pass this Microsoft Learning GitHub link into description section so that you can follow this lab when you do. So let's start that one now. So here I have already connected to Azure Portal. Now, here on search field, search for virtual network or VNet. Select that service. Now click on create. So here we're going to select the subscription, create a resource group. Then give a virtual network name. Select the locations, then click next. That will go to under security tab. And Azure Bastion is disabled. Virtual network encryption, we're not selecting that one. DDoS also disabled. So we are just taking all the default value. Click next. Next on IP address, we are going to give the address space 10.0.0.0/16. That is fine. And then we are going to create a subnet. So what we can do, we can just either edit, delete that one. Let me delete and add a subnet. Give a subnet name and give the subnet address range. Click on add. When that is done, click on review plus create. So it's running validation now. So in validation passed, click on create. So deployment, initializing deployment now. Deployment succeeded. Refresh this page. And we can see deployment is complete. So go to resources. And under that VNets, select the subnets. We can see that subnet under VNet that those are created now. So next task is enable a service endpoint. So for that, when we are in this VNet, So and after that, when you are in subnet, select that click like plus subnet button. So now we are adding another subnet. So make this subnet name, give a subnet name and starting address. And if you go down below, you can see IPv6 private subnet, and down below you can see service endpoints. So service endpoints policies to allow traffic to specific Azure resources from VNet. So here we need to select the services, and you can see the options available. In our lab, we are going to select this for Microsoft Storage. So select that Microsoft.storage option and then click add. And you can see that now two subnets. Now next task, we are going to restrict network access for a subnet. So like all VMs in a subnet can communicate with all resources. Now we can limit communication to and from all resources in a subnet by creating a NSG or network security group and associate it to the subnet. Like because these two are in the same VNet, they can communicate each other. But if I'd like to restrict in between two, then I can put or add a NSG. So we are going to create a network security group rule. So for that, here search for security groups. Select that network security groups. Then click on create to create a network security group. Select the subscription, select the resource group, then give a NSG name. Select the region. We're not giving any tag, so click review plus create. Validation is in progress. Validation passed. Now we can click create. So deployment is complete. Let's click go to resource. So you can see that NSG is created now. So now you see that under settings, we are going to select some outbound rules. So select that outbound security rules. Select add options, and let's say some rules here. So very first thing here, you see that we need to select the source. So we are going to select service tag that we are going to use, and then source service tag. What is that one? So that is virtual network in our case, and port range that any is fine for all. And then destination, that is also service tag. Destination service tag, destination service tag. I see the options. In our case, that is storage. Let me search that one. So that is storage. Select storage. Service is custom. Destination port range. Select all. And then protocol. Any. Action is allow. And priority 100. And then we have to give a outbound security rule name. So give a name. And then click add. So we have added this role like outbound communication to Azure Storage Service. Now we'll create another rule, uh, outbound security rule that denies communication to the internet. So it will override a default rule in all network security groups that allows outbound internet communication. So for that, here when you set outbound security rule, So here we can just add. So click add. Then select the source. Source is service tag. Source service tag is virtual network. Source port range. Destination is service tag. Destination service tag is this time internet. And this is custom. Destination port range for all. Protocol is any. This time action is deny. And priority is 110. So that was fast. Then this is 110. And then give a name for this security rule. Click on add. Now we are going to create an inbound security rule. Inbound means which is coming. Just think that way inwards. Outgoing is which is going to communicate with other services outside. So outbound is to, inbound is from. You can think that way. So create an inbound security rule to allow RDP traffic to the subnet from anywhere. So for that, let's here settings. You can see that inbound security rule. Click that options. Click add. Source is any. Source port range. Here you can see the read through. Asterisk to allow traffic on any port. Destination is any. Service is custom. And that is 3389 RDP port. Protocol is any. Action is allow. Priority is 120. And we are going to give a name that allow RDP all. So this is here what is happening actually. We are exposing this port to the internet, but this is our lab environment for testing purpose. For production purpose, definitely that will go through using a VPN or private connections. So click add. So all three rules are added to outbound and one inbound. So deployment is complete. Go to resource. We have added this one. That just notification. And we have added two outbound security rules. Now let's go to subnets under settings inside the NSG. And you can see that associate. So we need to associate this one. So click associate. And here we have to select. So in our case that the virtual network is selected and subnet is private. And then click OK. So next task, we are going to restrict network access to a resource. So this step is to restrict a network access to resource called like created through Azure services enable for a service endpoints. So let's go to like search field and search for storage accounts. Storage accounts. Select create options. Select the subscription, select resource group, then give a name for storage account. Then preferred storage type. Okay, region, that one is storage type. Azure PaaS, Azure Bill of Storage for Azure Data Lake. Select that Azure files. And then performance is standard. Provision V2 file sharing, provision capacity throughput IOPS is standard option, and then I can see, and it's a provision file share billing is provision. That on redundancy, we are going with the local redundancy for our lab perspective. So locally redundant storage. Then review plus create. So now click on create button. Deployment is in progress now. So deployment is complete. Click go to resource. So you can see that storage account is created now. So now we are going to create a file share in this storage account. So for that, if you see here the data storage options, expand that one, and you can see that there is a file share options. Click that file share. Then to create a, click on this file share options here. So give a name. We are giving a name is marketing. Others are default value, and then click next backup. When we do for our lab perspective, we are not taking any backup, so disable that enable backup options. Then click review plus create. Validation pass. So click on create button. So file share has been created. That marketing SMB file share. Okay. Now we will do restrict network access to a subnet. So for that, go back to here under. Let me go back to storage account. Now here, click on storage account. Then go to networking under security plus networking. Click that networking options. Then select is the public access private endpoints. Under public access, private endpoints. So we are going to select a network security provider or other options is available. So in the public access section, select enable from selected network. When that page came, select that enable. Enable from all networks. Click save. So let's select from this manage option under public access. Select manage. See, make sure that I'm checking the correct option. Public network access enable. And then public network access scope enable, but which level? Not for all networks. That should be selected network. So select that enable from selected network. Now we need to select that. So here you can see that add a virtual network. And you can see that options add existing virtual network. Select that option. And when that pop up, select the subscription, select the virtual network. In our case, that is core service VNet, and subnet is private one. Select that options. So subscription, virtual network, subnet, then click on add options. When that is done here, you have selected these options, click on save button. Now if you go here, that access key, you can get the key here. So we need to copy that one, which we need later on. Now we are going to create a virtual machine using PowerShell. So therefore you can see that the Cloud Shell options, click that Cloud Shell. When that option is coming to select which type of shell, select that PowerShell option. Select no storage account required, then select the subscription. Click apply. So it's going to create a Cloud Shell terminal. And prompt is displayed. So clear that screen. Now we need to upload scripts for this lab. So select manage files, click on upload. And files are downloaded. So under all files, exercise, it's under M07. And the file we are going to select is vms.json and vms.parameter.json. Click open. Successfully uploaded those files. I can check that one. Now we are going to deploy the ARM template to create VMs that needed for our exercise. Resource group name and passing that resource group name, template file and template parameter file. Press enter. So now we need that admin password. Let me go there and put something here so that VM deployment is in progress now. So if I check for VM here, you can see right now there is no VM. So it's going to create VM. So I'll be back when that's ready. So you can see that VM is created, contours of public. So if I refresh this page, we can see that VM is created. Two VMs actually. Contours of private and contours of public. Okay, VM2 private, VM1 is contours of public. Okay, now we have successfully completed this task. Now we are going to confirm access to storage account. So let's for that click on that contours of private virtual machine. Let's open a new tab. So here you can see that connect. Click on connect. Download this RDP file for connecting. Click on keep. Then click on open file. So click connect. Then paste the password. Click yes. Now open a PowerShell window. Now we'll use a PowerShell command to create a file share. Let me get the command here. So you'll get all these details from the lab section. So we need an Azure storage account key one value, which is this one, this value. And then credential, we have to pass the storage account name, or in our case, that is the storage account name. Give the storage account name. Now I execute those three commands. Go back to VM, PowerShell window, then paste it here. So now let's check something. Bing.com. That VM has no outbound connectivity. No, ping. Bing.com. And this is normal because the network security that we associated to the private subnet, which does not allow outbound access to the internet. So we can now close these sessions, remote connection session, desktop sessions. Now go back to Azure Portal and close that Cloud Shell window. Now where I'm in like a page of storage account, let's go to the file share and check this marketing file share. So click that one. Now in overview, select that browse sections, and you can see that you don't have access. Access is denied because our computer is not in the private subnet of the VNet, core service VNet virtual network. So that completes actually this section of lab. Now, it's always a better practice to clean all the resources, so you can just delete the resource group. So we have successfully completed our lab. If you have any questions, please add that into comment sections. Otherwise, see you into next lab.